she's different. And this is what I mean by different. Forget what she known for, forget what she do, all that. It's the fact that she know how to stay in your life for the rest of your life without being in your life. She taught me how to wash clothes, bro. I don't care where I go. If I see a laundromat, Bounce, a Downy, the little bear, Karrine. Number one, she's smart as hell. She ain't no best bookseller. Right? I mean, and she really writing. Like, she really writing, going through dry, like she's doing all it.
So she got a good head on her shoulders, huh?
You said that.
In the early 2000s, hip-hop videos were everywhere, on TV, in clubs, on countdown shows, shaping how the whole generation saw fame, love, and success. But behind the flash and the slow motion shots were real people living real stories. One of them was Karrine Steffens. In this story, we're gonna go all the way back to her childhood in the Virgin Islands, the pain that pushed her to run away as a teen, and the moment she found herself in Los Angeles chasing a fresh start. We're gonna talk about her rise from dancing and video shoots to the book deal that made her famous, and we'll also break down her public clashes from Tyra Banks, Melissa Ford to Columbus Short, amongst others. Let's get into it. Karrine Steffens, born on August 24, 1978 in St. Thomas, U.S. Virgin Islands, did not have a simple start. And honestly, her childhood was pretty rough. Growing up, her home was full of neglect and abuse, partly because her mother was an alcoholic. She experienced trauma when she was very young. In fact, in her memoir, Confessions of a Video Vixen, she talks about being essayed when she was only 13 years old. Growing up in that type of environment, it shaped how she saw herself and the world, forcing her to grow up before she had a chance to be a child. When she was around 10 years old, her family moved to Florida, but things didn't get better. The house was very unstable, and by her mid-teens, she was essentially homeless for about a month.
Yes, I started stripping when I was, I moved in with my father shortly after the second kidnap. I kept running away. Because my mother is just a horrible person, a terrible parent. I would rather live on the street, which I did.
Karrine began exotic dancing just to survive, and not because she wanted to. When she was 16 years old, she ran away from home, bouncing between Arizona, New York, and later Los Angeles. Now, while she was in New York as a teen, she met rapper Kool G Rap, and their relationship began when she was only about 17 years old, and it was extremely volatile. They ended up having a son together, but according to Karrine Steffens, there was domestic abuse, and she even ended up in the hospital one time.
Well, the relationship had been going downhill because it was an abusive relationship, and it had been almost from the start.
Okay.
So we were together for about 4 years.
That was her breaking point. So she left Kool G Rap and moved to LA with her child, determined to start afresh. And when she arrived in LA, she had no connections, no degree, and no safety net. But what she did have was confidence, presence, and beauty, qualities that made her stand out. At the time, hip-hop videos were exploding. Directors like Hype Williams were turning rappers into stars, and video models, also called video vixens, were quickly becoming part of the story. Karrine Steffens' big break came around in 2000, and that's when she appeared in Jay-Z's Hey Papi with Emil and Memphis Bleek. The video was shot in Miami and was all about yachts, champagne, and late 90s luxury. That appearance opened doors for Karrine, and soon after this she showed up in Mystikal's Danger, Been So Long, one of the year's biggest songs. From there, her name spread fast.
Fellas get it, girls not know. You looking good, mama. Why? What's up, homie?
Been so long.
Sing it.
He's been on.
Come on, get on.
In interviews, she said that once you are seen in one major video, you're on every casting list, and one job leads to another. She later popped up in R. Kelly's Toya Time.
She heard me singing. Whoa. Whoa.
And even snagged a small acting role in A Man Apart 2003 alongside Vin Diesel. And this was a sign that she was leveling up from a background model to a working actress. But that early fame came with mixed feelings. She was finally earning money and recognition, yet she felt like she was boxed in, praised for her looks, but dismissed as a person. In her book, Confessions of a Video Vixen, she called the industry a glamorous cage, It gave her access to celebrities, but also exposed her to exploitation. So, in the early 2000s, after years of appearing in music videos and navigating the chaos of Hollywood nightlife, Karrine goes, "Why don't I start writing down my experiences?" And the working title at the time was Confessions of a Video Vixen. By 2004, she's living in Los Angeles, exhausted by the rumors and labels, and she's finally ready to reclaim her narrative. She then said, "I was tired of everyone else telling my story." So, she writes down her experiences, from late night shoots to toxic encounters, and she eventually captures the attention of HarperCollins, one of the biggest publishing houses in America. So by 2005, Karrine signs a publishing deal with Amistad, an imprint of HarperCollins known for amplifying Black voices and untold stories. The book is pitched as a tell-all memoir, and it talks about what really happens behind the scenes of hip-hop. Now, when the book comes out, within weeks of its release, it climbs up the New York bestseller list, debuting in the top 10 and holding its spot for several weeks. In the book, she writes about encounters with Jay-Z, Usher, DMX, and Ja Rule, and she talks about stories most people have never heard of.
I don't think that people are afraid of being written about. I think that, again, when I write about people, I talk to them beforehand. So it's never a surprise. Some people have been upset because I didn't write about them because they feel as if they weren't significant enough. No, the people that are in my life have never been upset by it. People that I wrote about before my first book, I've seen them later, and no one's upset. I've never bumped into an upset person yet.
Now, on one side of the coin, people are going, "Oh, she must be clout chasing. She is clearly just after fame." But other people are going, "Oh, she's so courageous. I can't believe she had the guts to say all of this." But either way, the book gets people talking about sexism, consent, and how women are treated in hip-hop. Now, the book deal becomes her version of a record deal, the launch pad that changes everything. Confessions of a Video Vixen is essentially her first album. It's raw, revealing, and definitely hard to ignore. So after the book drops around 2005, Karrine Steffens becomes one of the most talked about women in hip-hop. The book is everywhere, and it sold about 400,000 copies in its first year. Now, the thing is, she did not stop there. Around 2007, she drops the Vixen Diaries, and this one picks up where the previous book left off. This time, she's not just exposing the industry, she's talking about her fame, love, and rebuilding herself after so much public attention. And then about 2 years later, Karrine drops the Vixen Manual, How to Find, Seduce, and Keep the Man You Want. Now, instead of a memoir, this one is more of a guide, and it's more of a mix of self-help and relationship advice. So at this point, Karrine was trying to shed that Video Vixen label, and she was trying to turn it into something empowering. Now, after stepping back from the spotlight for a while, she came back in 2015 with Vindicated, Confessions of a Video Vixen 10 years later. Now, this one was different. It was quieter, more personal, and she was talking about how fame, judgment, and constant rumors shaped her life. Now, the thing is, even though Karrine Steffens was finally famous, especially after dropping her first book, Karrine was going, "Why aren't people empathizing with me? Instead, they're judging me. What the hell?" Critics were essentially calling her a tattletale, and blogs and radio shows were slapping her with the name Superhead. And this is a name that she gained from playing with hot dogs, if you know what I mean. In fact, there's a video that a friend of mine has seen, that friend being me, but in the video she's with a very famous corn star. And the thing is, corn stars, they've probably been with loads of women, right? They've been with multiple women, that's their job. So after being with 100 women, the men are probably like, "Ugh, not this again. I need a new career path." But when this corn star got with Karrine Steffens, like, this guy looked like he was in heaven. I don't know what the hell she was doing, but I was like, okay, I see why she got the name Superhead. Like, she knows what the hell she's doing, right?
Superhead is a moniker that I gave myself in a personal relationship of mine that I had with an artist, and it was a joke between us based on our love life, and it was all of those things. But unfortunately, it got out, and once it got out, it got misunderstood. I'm not saying it's not true.
Anyway, outside of the headlines, she faced real-life consequences. Labels and brands were going, we need to keep our rappers and artists away from her because she is trouble. So behind the scenes, even though she was achieving a lot of fame, the finances were looking better, she felt like she was being blackballed by the industry. Now, despite being a tattletale, there were rappers that still chose to mess with Karrine, and one of them was Lil Wayne.
When did you initially meet Wayne?
I can't even talk about Wayne without. I met Wayne in 2007.
I mean, you describe Wayne as the love of your life?
Now, there was an interview that Karrine did back in the day, and during the interview she spoke about her relationship with Wayne, essentially saying, look, I have a man right now. I love him, we get on pretty well, but if Wayne was to call me in the middle of the night, I'd be like, look, baby, I care about you, I really do, but Wayne just called me and I gotta go. I love you, baby. Right, every single time that Wayne called her, and it didn't matter if she was dating somebody, she would leave the person she was with in the middle of the night or whatever time it is to go to Wayne, and all the guys she was with knew about this deal. So I remember thinking, bro, there is no way. Like, how do guys deal with the fact that when Wayne calls, she disappears? Do they go, well, it's Wayne, so I understand? Or maybe they're going, look, I'm only gonna be here for like 1 or 2 years, so she can have her fun. You know, that's probably what it is.
No, we're friends, man. Everybody be getting in the room when she said she was getting married. Everybody thought she was getting married to me. But she actually got a husband. Like, she's married. She married the boy, I don't know their last name, McCrary, though. Yeah, like, they cool. Like, I be talking to her and shit. She just cool. I mean, a bitch that you could talk to about any damn thing, because she done been through everything. And don't give a fuck about telling you. Ain't gonna tell you the real about it. That's a good thing. I like to talk to people with some wisdom and some experience, man. Who wants to talk to a motherfucker that ain't been through nothing?
Karrine also went on to say that Drake wrote a lot of Wayne's lyrics, and I don't think that information is something Wayne would want to come out. Now let's talk about the issues that Karrine had with multiple people in the industry, starting with Melissa Ford. Now, when Confessions of a Video Vixen came out around 2005, it painted video vixens in a negative light. Now, Melissa Ford at the time was pushing back against the video vixen label, so when Karrine's book came out, she felt like it was very demeaning and it made all video vixens look the same. Melissa's own words were, Karrine's book painted all of us with the same brush. In her defense, Karrine later went on to say, I didn't start beefs, I told my truth. And later in life, when Melissa Ford was doing the Joe Budden podcast, she looked back and said, look, we were all just trying to survive, so I don't blame Karrine Steffens for what she did. Now, the next person Karrine had issues with was Tyra Banks. Around 2006, she appears on Tyra's show, and she's thinking, wow, this is amazing, I'm finally on Tyra Banks' show. This is gonna be great. But during the show, Tyra goes, aren't you glamorizing sleeping with powerful men? Isn't that what your book is about? And that's when Karrine pushes back by saying, I didn't do this to inspire imitation. I did it to tell the truth. Looking back on that interview, Karrine later said that Tyra was trying to ambush her and wanted her to be ashamed, but she was not going to be ashamed for surviving.
People expect me to be ashamed, and I'm not. And I think that it bothers a lot of people that I'm not ashamed. I admire the fact that you're not ashamed. I think what bothers me is that you're attracted to names, you're attracted to celebrity, and I think you do understand that naming these names means that, you know, this is going to get attention. And I want you to be honest and sit and be honest with me.
That interview with Tyra Banks was ridiculous. I found it sad for her. I know some things about Tyra. It's a very small town. So when she attacked me, I remember thinking, not you. You?
Now, around 2016, Karrine had stepped away from gossip headlines until her relationship with Columbus short. Now, at first, things looked perfect. Karrine was constantly posting photos of Columbus on social media and going, oh, he's the best thing to ever happen to me. But then weeks later, an Instagram video comes out of Karrine tossing Columbus's belongings outside, with Karrine saying, he is not my husband, he's a man I tried to help.
Steffans aired out all their dirty laundry and some of his clean on Instagram Tuesday morning. The former Vixen called out her hubby for cheating and then listed 2 women he apparently slept with. But that's not all. Steffans pulled a stunt out of Waiting to Exhale and threw Short's clothes all over the place. Meanwhile, the former Scandal star didn't seem fazed at all.
Nobody has anything to say. Nobody has anything to say. Oh, hi, Columbus.
Huh. You okay? You feeling okay? Okay.
Soon after this, Karrine is going, I don't feel safe with this guy. I don't want him in my life at all. So she files for a restraining order against Columbus Short. And Karrine says, I saw too many patterns I lived through before, hinting that Columbus was somehow dangerous to her. Now let's talk about the money she earned through her first book, Confessions of a Video Vixen. After the first year, and after the book sold about 400,000 copies, people were going, I'm sure Karrine is stinking rich. But behind the success, she didn't actually control her earnings. Her publishing deal with Amistad/HarperCollins came with a very modest advance, typical for a first-time author. But when she was getting her royalty check, she was going, I'm pretty sure I deserve way more than this. And according to her, there was a lot of money that never reached her. She later went on to say, the world bought my story, but I'm still fighting to own it. Now entering the 2020s, Karrine Steffens was going, I don't think I want to be associated with that name anymore. So she began publishing under her real name, Elizabeth Overson, explaining that Karrine was not her true self, and Karrine was born out of survival and necessity. She then began to shift her focus. She began writing essays, mentoring young women, and exploring storytelling in digital spaces. In 2022, she announces her pregnancy, and she says, I'm finally giving life instead of fighting for mine. So today, Karrine is in her 40s. She's going by the name Elizabeth, and she's focusing on writing, public speaking, and mentorship. She now leads memoir workshops and panels on narrative healing, helping others turn pain into a story. And that's the story of Karrine Steffens. Did I leave anything out? Let me know down below, and I'll see you in the next video.